We got the Philadelphia Eagles that we're talking about today. For those of you that are new, welcome in. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. What we do is every day during the summer, we talk about one NFL team. Right now, we're on the NFC East. We did the Cowboys yesterday. Now we're on the Eagles today. We're going to recap just a little refresher. What happened last season with them, right? Let's just go through. Let's look real quick. What happened last season with them? What did they do in the offseason? Who did they lose in free agency, gain in free agency? What did they do during the draft? Any relevant news? Like you had the Chiefs. I mean, it was like every other day someone's getting arrested for something or something crazy was happening, right, with the Chiefs. And then salary cap stuff, like here with the Eagles, there's some really scary salary cap stuff. Not for this season, but for the upcoming seasons, it's kind of crazy. And then we'll go ahead and preview with a little bit of guess the lines as we look at this year's schedule and kind of guess to see what the point spread is going to be on the games. And then we'll go to the betting market and take a look and see, okay, what does the betting market expect from this team this year? Can we find some nuggets? You ready to do this, Cricket?
Yeah.
You know, the Eagles last year, I feel like a lot of people, we're kind of in that world where it's like, what have you done for me recently? And I feel like everyone's got a sour taste in their mouth from the Eagles. And how can you blame them? Because they lost 5 of their last 6 games of the season there. They had the division wrapped up into one, but that curse of no team since I still haven't looked up the stat. Maybe Patriot. No, Patriot. When was the last time someone in the NFC East won back-to-back division titles? But that curse is real because the Eagles were about to do it, and they lost 5 of their last 6. Cowboys win the division, and then they have. So this means that Eagles, instead of hosting a home playoff game, they got to go on the road, and they go lose to your Tampa Bay Bucks. Now your Bucks were about the exact opposite at that point. They were playing some of their best ball, and they handled the Eagles easily, 32-9. Which was quite crazy. You remember those couple goal line stands?
Straight up.
Same thing that they did in like week 2 of the season or whatever week it was.
On 4th down twice last year.
Yeah, it was
only
crazy.
Stopped like 3 or 4 times. We stopped it like half the times.
Yeah, when that happened, when they stopped them in the goal line in that playoff game, I go, "Oh, Tampa's winning this game."
Bro, I got way too hype in that moment.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. But the reason why I bring this up is because I think people forget. This team, usually after coming off a Super Bowl, like Super Bowl appearance, you have that Super Bowl hangover.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at how the season ended last year, you'd say, oh, yeah, that happened to the Eagles. Not really. They started the season off 10-1. That's pretty good, Cricket.
10-1, bro. Yeah. I mean, you're sitting there just licking your chops, gearing up. Like I said, you go on a little tough stretch there. We saw this team and we talked about it last year, man. I think that was a lot of kind of locker room issues and different things. There were different rumblings about different players and different problems they were having in the locker room with certain guys and all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, that was a collapse of monumental proportions there. You talk about 5 of 6 in the regular season, 6 of 7 overall to end the year right there as far as losing those games, and gives you a real long off season. I'm anxious to see how they respond, bounce back. Jalen Hurts has always been one of those guys. In every moment I've ever seen that guy have some adversity, he usually comes out the next year and as a football player better. That's what I've seen. So I want to see, at some point you got to figure you can't continue to do that. So what kind of chips he got on his shoulder? Because it's really going to boil down to that, how well that guy plays.
Okay, Patriot, cover your ears. We don't usually do it this way, but I just want to state this right now before we get into all this. I actually think the Eagles are going to have a good season. I really do. I think one of the things is last year, remember they had those young pieces. It was they called them the Georgia Eagles, right? Because they had all the young Georgia Bulldog defensive players, right?
Philadelphia
Bulldogs. I feel like those defensive players, it takes a little while to mesh. And last year they didn't, even though they went 10-1, they weren't playing as well as we thought that their defense would be playing, right? I have a feeling this year it's going to be different. Another year underneath their belt to kind of mesh together. The offense is going to be the offense. The offense we got to worry about because as we'll get into, obviously Jason Kelsey's gone, so that's one worry point. Changing the guy that's calling all the plays on the line there, and kind of the leader of the locker room and whatnot. But I think the offense is going to be a-okay, and I think if that defense can play well and play well later on in the season, I think I'm expecting the Eagles to be a contender this year, and I don't see why they shouldn't be. They've got all the pieces.
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely. And you got a lot of big, added. We'll talk about it in a minute, but added some key pieces there that can really help this team out. And you got a quarterback that's shown the ability to be one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league at any given time. You got some key weapons on the outside. You got some good pieces on the defense. You got some young guys that are going to develop better into the, obviously as they prolong their career there. So, I mean, the Eagles got all the pieces. I also got to see how head coach Nick Soriano responds here, man. Well, what kind
Yeah,
of
he's on the hot seat because they fired everyone but him. So it's like, listen, dude, if this doesn't turn out the way we want it to turn out, you're next. Like you've got,
because you're
and
kind of like,
you can
okay,
like the guy all you want, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like,
it's about
listen,
wins, man.
yeah, and it's clearly you now because you got rid of everyone.
You got
Now it
rid.
wasn't
They
his
gave you the
fault. It wasn't his fault that he lost his offensive and defensive coordinator after the Super Bowl run because that's just what happens.
right.
But yeah, you gotta figure it out here. But let's see.
I mean, because it's kind of hard to just like be done with that guy. He took you to a Super Bowl, then he started you out 10-1, and
and the
you had a
players
couple.
seem to like him.
Yeah, and yeah, your players seem to like him, and you had a couple bad months there. At this point, it's a couple bad months. You can't let it lead to a couple more bad months because then you're gonna get axed.
Is it just me? Am I insensitive when I say when I saw the coach when he was out there at the Super Bowl and they're doing the national anthem and he's crying before the Super? I don't like that. I don't like it, man. I know you're emotional. It's a big spot. I want Belichick. I want the Belichick straight face, mean mug. Like we're here to do a job. Cry after you win. You know.
To each their own. Yeah, to each their own.
I know. It's each their own. It's just not how I
But
am. And if
you've reached that, but I'm with you, man. I'm the same way. I'm all about the. I don't like. You want to go cry by yourself after the game and collect your thoughts and all that, that's fine. But you prepared your whole life to get to this moment. But this isn't where you wanted to stop.
and it's nothing against the national. I mean, maybe he's just crying because he's you know honored for the country and it's not the flags up there. That's great. Keep it together a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. But you're in a profession where it's all about mindset and mental.
You're the leader.
You're the leader, man. You're the leader. Like I said, I don't like crying on the field either, man. I ain't never been a fan.
Hey, yeah. Listen, so they released a couple players here. They got Kevin. They released Kevin Byard and Avonte Maddox there. Some of the bigger things. Let's see. I'm trying to just skim through here. We'll get to so they agreed to terms with Jake Elliott on a 4-year contract. I don't know why I love when kickers get paid. I still feel like they're like a good kicker. I feel still like they're underpaid.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I got to step away for 2 seconds.
I want my kids to grow up and be kickers. I want to just start having. I took Ace out to the baseball park yesterday, and we started hitting balls off the tee for the first time, and throwing a baseball. When I think I should just start having them kick a football. Well, it's in a soccer ball. We'll go back and forth because you figure out the soccer stuff is going to help you with the football. But the big news, of course, with the Eagles was they were able to snag Saquon Barkley away from the Giants. He signed a 3-year contract, really a 2-year contract. But yeah, they get Saquon Barkley there. They agreed to terms with C.J. Gardner-Johnson on a 3-year contract. They brought in Devontae Parker on a 1-year deal. So, I mean, a good veteran player there. A lot of these ones, you just want those veteran guys in there just because they've been in the league. They know what to do. They can help, as long as they're a good locker room guy. That's a value that you won't see in the stats, right? You won't see that on the field. Well, you might see it on the field, but you won't see it the behind the scenes stuff. Man, I am struggling today. Then they were able to get QB Kenny Pickett as backup. I don't think that's a bad move. I think that they had Mariota, I think was there. Mariota was there beforehand. Now they got Kenny Pickett, old small hand Kenny Pickett. Good for them. Now they got their backup. Let's see. Agree to terms with linebacker Devin White. Good move there. All in all, I mean, they were making some moves this season. Agree to terms with wide receiver. Oh yeah, that's his rookie contract. They released Avonte Maddox and they brought him back. Look at that. You'd love to see it. They exercised their 5th-year option to Devontae Smith. Agreed to terms with AJ Brown on a 3-year contract extension. So Brown's happy. He's paid. He got a lot of money. Yeah, didn't he get like 3 years, like 80-something million, like guaranteed? Let's see. Eagles trade. They did a bunch of trades. I don't think there was anything major after that. The big moves is they extended some guys. Cricket. They got Saquon Barkley. They brought in some veteran guys. I didn't realize they brought in these guys. Cricket. I wanted to get your opinion real quick. Stuff that you won't see behind the scenes, but they were able to. Where I just lost it. It was Devontae Parker. There we go. So they brought in CJ Gardner-Johnson, and then they brought in Devontae Parker. Good, some veterans there.
Veteran guys there. Yeah, big one for me is losing Hassan Reddick to the Jets there. He was a big piece of that defense off the edge. Obviously bringing in Saquon's a big deal. You got Goddard at tight end, but I do like Uzomah as a back, at least a credible backup there.
Well, then I say this, and then look, Devontae Parker retired. I didn't realize that. Man,
I was
a lot
thinking
of
when
people
you
are
said that,
retired.
I was like, geez, I like Devontae Parker and always have been a fan, but I was like, God, he's older than me at this point.
Yeah, but he's a good salt. Well, hey, he's retired. But then they signed John Ross. Isn't John Ross the guy that's the fast, speedy guy that the Bengals drafted a long time ago, right? Played for Washington.
Yep. Sure enough,
Yeah.
that is.
Okay, I
So
want to look at before we go over into their draft picks real quick. I want to check this out. Because they've got a squad, dude. They've got a squad. So they got your guy Kenny Pickett.
yeah,
Old small hands, Kenny Pickett.
man, Kenny Pickett has let me down.
Dude, look at this team, though. I was looking at their roster. I was like, damn, these guys are stacked. So you got Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Paris Campbell out of Ohio State, Dallas Goedert. And they got, they still got Lane. I mean, your main offensive lineman there is Lane Johnson. Obviously, the big news is going to be, I guess we didn't talk about that, but Jason Kelce retires, right? I didn't see it in there, but I'm sure
mentioned
somewhere
it.
in there.
I mean, you touched on it a little bit.
Yeah, so that's huge. So we'll have to see it. But I mean, for the most part, they've got that. They've got some good backups there. You got I still late round fantasy football, Kenneth Gainwell. I'm telling you, this kid is good. This kid is good. He just every year they just keep bringing in bigger names. Like they pay a bunch of guys, so then they get the number one spot. Like Gainwell's that
He's
guy.
always
Don't be surprised if you see him in the red zone, right? Because he can catch. He can catch.
They picked up. Did we talk about their draft?
We're going into that next.
Okay.
I just want to look at this because this is crazy. I mean, you got Devin White, Nolan Smith Jr., Darius Slay, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Jalen Carter. I mean, look at these guys, dude. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, that's that Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter was like, two of Georgia's greatest defensive linemen ever, just sitting right there in the middle, staring at you every play.
Yeah. And they got a year under their belt.
Yeah. They're just getting better.
Yeah. Didn't they sign to who's their did Fangs go to the Eagles?
Who's that?
Fangio?
I believe he did go up there.
Vic Fangio. This is another thing too. Fangio. Remember last year? So his defenses usually take like half a season to kind of hit the, finally get going, which is how you want it to, right? You want your defense to start meshing in the middle of the season. But it wasn't until Miami brought back what's his name? I always forget his name, but a cornerback. Once he has a couple solid
Ramsey.
Yeah, once Ramsey came back, then that defense was just fire. It was fire.
Yeah,
this defense is ready to go. So I can't wait to see what Fangs does with his defense.
That's what I'm saying. This is a team, man. The more I look at this roster, and so I want to see the schedule and all that too. But this might be a team that I do wind up being kind of high on. I do expect a bounce back season from these cats. Not that they had a terrible one last year, just a bad end to it. But yeah, the more I look at this, man, the more I like this Eagles team.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I have been ignoring the chat. I'm sorry, boys. We're just trying to power through because I got a lot of time. But seriously, I don't know how to help you with your tech issues. Maybe somebody will pop in soon. Okay.
Probably.
Okay. Oh, he's talking to James. They're helping James out. See, chat's helping each other out. That's what we love to see. By the way, make sure you smash the like button while you're here. Algorithms and advertisers. That's what it helps with, people. Their draft picks, man. Tell me about this. I mean, they brought in this we were just looking at their roster. Is that guy even a starter? Let me see.
Who?
Let me see. Yeah, he is. Okay. Their number one draft pick right there. Their first round draft pick. Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo. I remember when they made that pick. I'm like, a guy out of he's good if he's coming out of Toledo.
No, it's a good player. He was the number one ranked cornerback coming out. Got a 92 grade at the combine, really kind of showed some flashes at the Senior Bowl, and then ran the second fastest 40 at the combine at 4.33 there. So this guy is an absolute burner. He's good on coverage, good in man coverage there. Kind of a physical guy, 6 foot 195, got good size on him there. And as far as a lot of big time, he played a lot of college football, but not a lot of those premier games in the SEC or the Big Ten or anything like that. But this guy's a great football player, man. I think this was a good pick.
Yeah, so apparently the Eagles, that's where they were lacking last year. They were 28th ranked in coverage last season, kind of why they collapsed. I mean, you can get all that pressure, but you also got to have some people, have some coverage. So they not with just the first round pick, their second round pick, 40th overall, they take Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. The Eagles add 2 top 10 players on the PFF big board in their first 2 rounds of the draft, both the cornerback position. DeJean projects as a movable piece in Vic Fangio's defense, who could theoretically end up outside in the slot or at safety. He's been extremely productive in Iowa secondary, allowing just a 45 pass rating into the coverage over the last 2 seasons. That's pretty good. I know it's the Big Ten and some of those teams.
Well, the Cooper DeJean here, I like this guy. Comes from a defensive pedigree type school in Iowa. We know about that defense up there. Back in 2022, he returned 3 of his 5 interceptions for touchdown. Took a punt back for a touchdown last year. Cooper DeJean is a playmaker. That is a guy that's once again been a journeyman in college football, a leader of that Iowa defense last year. Another great pick right here, man.
James, can you go to Newsmax chat and say unmute James 2990? The Patriot hates the Eagles, but I don't think he hates them that much to turn away from the show. So it might be tough. It might be tough. We'll see. We'll see what we can do, James.
They got you muted, man.
Yeah.
They got you muted, man. There ain't nothing we can do about that, man. We don't have connections like that, man. You got to stop saying crazy stuff if they got you muted, man.
Can you see? Okay. And then run through some of these other guys real quick. I got to step away for 1 second. I'm going to refill the coffee. Some of these other guys, can you see all this that pretty well?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I got you. I got me one pulled up over here too. I believe this is Jalen Hunt out of Houston. It's kind of surprising pick for me here in the 3rd round. Don't know a whole lot about this guy from Houston Christian. Versatile defender, plays both off and on the line there. He's got a good first step. Got a lot of length in this closing burst. You know, I think they see a pretty high ceiling with this guy. 6'4", 252, so a big guy there that can really be developed at the NFL level with the right coaching and all that stuff. Not that he had bad coaching, but there's a reason you're at Houston Christian and not Houston. So I don't really know a lot about this guy here, but obviously they see something they like in him. I see that in the 4th round, they were the 27th pick of the 4th round. They pick up Will Shipley, the running back out of Clemson, another guy that's played a lot of big-time college football. Not an overly small guy, not a huge guy, but at 5'11", 206, definitely solid enough to give you some valuable carries there. And, you know, he runs hard. He's been an instinctive guy down at Clemson. Like I said, once again, played in some big-time games. So not a terrible pickup there, but that's Saquon Barkley's job, obviously. And then you got Gainwell behind him. So Shipley probably not going to see a whole lot of carries. They might mix him in some packages, maybe look for some swing passes and things like that out of the backfield. Some check down type stuff, but he is a guy that if you put the ball in his hands can be electrifying at times. Then you got Ainias Smith, the wide receiver out of Texas A&M. I like this guy. I believe if I'm not mistaken, he wound up having a season-ending injury last year. I think he wound up it was about midway through the season, if I recall correctly, where he broke an ankle or something, had a leg injury where he was down. But he's always been a guy that was kind of a burner. He is the only 2,000-yard receiver in SEC history to also record at least 250 rushing yards, punt return, and kickoff return yards. So did something in the SEC that ain't never been done before. But like I said, I think he went down with the injury last year, so I have to see how he responds with that. I know if it's who I'm thinking of, it was a season-ending injury. It's a pretty nasty injury, if I am remembering right. It's there. So see how he responds from that. Then you got Jeremiah Trotter here. Another guy out of Clemson, linebacker, another guy that's, I think was projected to go a little bit higher than this. I believe he had a chance to come out the year before and probably would have went higher than this, but, still a guy that can make some plays for this team. He left Clemson as one of only 14 FBS players to record 10-plus sacks, 4-plus interceptions, 3-plus forced fumbles, and multiple pick sixes in the past 20 seasons. So Jeremiah Trotter Jr. can be a playmaker for this team. So I don't think it's a bad pick, especially in the 5th round. Trevor Keegan, offensive guard out of Michigan State, trying to bulk up that line a little bit. You got Johnny Wilson. This is kind of a sneaky pick here. Man, way down in the 6th round, 9th pick, the big receiver out of Florida State, guy 6'6", 231. I thought Keon Coleman was the best receiver on that Florida State team, but Johnny Wilson not very far behind him. Another guy that I believe could have came out the year before, decided to go back to school and try to improve his stock. Didn't work out for him there, but he still got a roster spot, man. If you earn it there, you at least gonna get a chance to earn your roster spot. So a sneaky pick there in the 6th round. And then the last pick they had Dylan McMahon, also in the 6th round, another guard out of NC State. So trying to bulk up that line a little bit, but not a bad draft in my opinion.
Yeah, not a bad draft. Now, Cricket, I have an insane salary cap thing to show you with the Eagles. Yeah, so good draft. They addressed some needs. They got some top cornerbacks. They brought in, Fangs for defensive coordinator. Going to be interesting to see how they use those pieces. But you got to see this, Cricket. Anyways, back to the Eagles here. So I was shocked by this. The Eagles cap space. You know me. I like to keep an eye on this salary cap because it matters. It really does.
Yep.
And we had Jalen Hurts sign that it was like a 5-year, $255 million contract, something like that. Where they paid him like $51 million a year.
Yeah.
And they still have $24.6 million in cap space this season. I'm like, how in the hell they got all these players? I know they got a lot of young guys, but I'm like, you got AJ Brown that you just extended. You just extended Jalen Hurts. I'm like, how are they able to get away with this? Look at this. Their cap hits are not. I mean, how many teams have we seen that easily? I mean, we just saw, what was it yesterday? Someone was 20-something million for the Cowboys, was the top guy or whatever, something like that. No, Dak was 58. It was something before that, but Dak was like
a lot of guys they had to pay. Like
they don't have anyone that is a cap hit. Now, this is cap hit people are not what they're getting paid this season. Cap hit's what's going on the books this season. And Lane Johnson at 15.8 is the highest one. You got Jalen Hurts at 13.5. Man, you're paying your top 3 guys here, your most important guys, your right tackle for this team, your right tackle, you got your QB and Jalen Brown. And I mean, that's what 11.5 right there. We'll say 12. So only 16% of your salary cap. That's crazy. But here's why. Cricket. Look at this. This is where I had to do some research digging in because I didn't understand a part of this. I still don't know if I fully understand it because I don't get how this works and how they're able to do this. This is like, must be some, these are like whoever's running the books for the Eagles are like some accountants that you go to, right? That they'll work within the gray, right? They know they're sharp.
They live
right?
in the gray.
Listen, trust me, we're good. We're good. This is gonna seem funky, but we're good. So he signed this 5-year, $255 million contract. Okay, look at the next year's his salary cap hit. So this year it's 13.5, 21.7. 31.7 and 41.8. I mean, by 2020, I mean, even by today's standards, where they got 41.8 is not bad, right? Not bad against cap. Here's where it gets tricky. They decided, and they've done this with multiple players. They decided to do these void years. You can do these void years. I'm not going to try to explain. This is what I was researching last night. I'm not going to try to explain what these void years are. Just know that they are legal, but you're able to stretch out that money on the back end. The one problem with it is if you end up extending this player, all the void years has to go into that new contract plus the new money that you give them. So basically, Jalen Hurts probably isn't going to be an Eagle unless he takes a huge discount because they're going to have to put in like $140 million worth of stuff in the void years just to on top of whatever he wants. And by then he'll probably want, if he is, franchise guy still wants $50 million a year or whatnot. So it's going to be a crazy contract, but look at these void years. Look at 2029 Cricket. He is a $97.5 million cap hit and won't even be on the team. So $97.5 million. I know the cap's going to go up, but how insane is that?
So if you void this, they don't have to pay that?
No, they do. They've paid him. They've paid him.
Do they still? So what is the point of the void? Like,
what they can extend it after he's off the team. That's the void. The void. It's tricky. It's complicated. That's why I said I'm not going to try to explain it.
Why doesn't everybody do this?
Because you're going to start paying players that aren't on your team. That's why it's void, but you still have to account for it on the books. Because I was sitting here adding up. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. They guaranteed $110 million at signing, $179 million is fully guaranteed. I'm adding these numbers up. I'm like, we're not getting there. We're getting to the 110. We're not getting to the 179 plus what you're going to end up paying them. So, I mean, if they end up cutting them and after the 2027 season, then this stuff will go away and the void years will kick in. And because when you pay a player, it has to come on the books at some point, and you can only do voids. So like you can add void. It's something like what the original contract was, the number of years minus the year that's left. So if this one would be 5 minus 1, so that's why they have 4 years of void that they could add here. Does that make somewhat sense? So either way, they're gambling right now for they want to win now, right?
They got to win
because now. Look at these. You can't have $97 million on the books. I mean, it's so risky. It gets real real tricky here with the proration options and signings. It's so confusing. But look, they didn't do it with just him. They extended AJ Brown 3 years, $96 million. I've been wondering, like, how are they paying all these guys? Well, look at they got a void year cap hit in this the year after. So let's see, the year after. So in 2020. In 2030, he's a $53.5 million, and he's not even going to be on the team. Even if he was on the team, dude's going to be 33 years old.
They got $150 million in cap space tied up between two guys that aren't going to be playing.
Well, yeah, the 97.5 is 2029, but they still have $30 million on 2020 or 2030 for Hurts. So I mean, that's $83 million with two guys that aren't on your team. What are we doing?
And we all know that these guys, they're not going to play for free, man.
No, dude. So it's like it's insane. These void years. I went and looked at this. So here we are on their salary cap, right? It won't even let me go to 2029, but just look at this. Look how much is on the books already for 2028 of their cap space. They've already got, or of how much is allocated to 212 million, and we're talking 2028. A lot of these teams,
how much do you get?
Like, well, we don't know what the cap space is going to be.
Okay, we don't know.
It's like 256 or 260 or something like that. But I mean, the fact that they're number one in the league with how much cap they already have, like, look at these cap hits.
Probably number one by double.
Yeah, probably. Look at this. Jalen Hurts is a 47. This is 2028, people. This is 4 years from now. They've got these guys on the books for this money. If you're an Eagles fan, you better hope they win the Super Bowl.
And there seriously may not be a single one of those guys wearing a Philadelphia Eagles helmet at that point.
Yeah, they even got 2028. They're going to still be paying Saquon Barkley on the books.
Yeah,
Barkley,
and he'll be 35.
He'll be gone.
Who plays running back? I mean, heck, I can't believe. I like Saquon, but I can't believe he got that much money going late in his career. Anyway, I mean,
yeah, crazy. So I mean, I saw that, Cricket, and I'm like, I had to do a double take. I'm like, there's no way that they.
Is this a newer thing? This void thing, or has this always been around?
I think it was part of the last CBA deal.
Okay, because I mean,
I just haven't seen many teams do it. Maybe more teams are doing it. I'm not sure. I need to do a little bit more research into it. But the fact that you're going to have on the books $97.5 million for Patriot, you got to be happy about this. You know that the late 2020s and the early 2030s is going to be a terrible time for be an Eagles team. I'll tell you what, if I could get a bet now that the Eagles will finish last in their division in 2029, I'd bet it.
Max, you find those odds, bet it right now. I don't care what you got to lay, man. But
this is them assuming that the salary cap is going to go up every year, and it has, but it's been going up at ridiculous rates. Now they are due to sign, a new media rights deal, but I can't see how it's going to go up enough to where, I mean, to justify any of this, you would have to hope that the cap gets to half a billion. You know what I mean?
And we're about to get Trump back in office, man. So we're going to be in better shape come next time around.
That's right. We are. It's just, I saw that and it blew my mind, Cricket. I was like,
I don't know. That's your homework, man. You got to dive into this a little bit more to kind of figure out what the deal is here. Because I need to know. I'm still a little confused on all. I just know that we do these. We've done them for 2 years now. And we've done them every team. I've never seen one of those little void slips down there. So I'm like, did y'all just decide to start doing this last week or something?
And because I was doing the math last night and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense because you can't. Like, he's getting that money. He's getting paid. So it has to come on the books somewhere. Yeah. So I thought maybe these maybe these voids, they go away or something like that if certain circumstances. But I'm like, no, that's not true because they've guaranteed X amount of money. And so they've paid him. Would have paid him that amount of money. I go, it has to come on the books at some point. The numbers here don't add up. So yes, I mean, these void years, they're there. That is insane.
Why wouldn't you try to spread that 97 million out a little bit more, man?
There must be some rules of what they can and can't do.
Yeah, I mean, you only got 9 million down there in 2032. I believe I'd added about 15 million to that, man. I mean, it at least gives you a little bit more wiggle room there. But you got $100 million tied up in one player for one season. I mean, hell, that pretty much you might as well chalk that up as a lost season, man. You can't pay nobody else.
Yeah, you better hope that you're really good at drafting at that point.
Mm-hmm. Which they are.
They're good. Okay. Here we go. My favorite part. We're going to play Guess the Lines. We're going to do Philadelphia Eagles schedule coming up. They get to start the season off, Cricket. Oh, I'm going to let you guys. What are you going to put your bet in today?
Let's
over
see.
Unders 2.5.
Over unders 2.5.
Yeah, I nailed 4 right yesterday.
I'm going with exactly 2 today, sir.
Okay. I feel like the first one's kind of I haven't gone and looked at the week 1 lines. It's been about a week since I've looked at them. So they could have moved, but I feel like week 1's kind of cheating now because we're so close to the season starting. But they do start the season off. It's in Brazil Friday. So Thursday will be the first game of the season, as always, with the defending champs. And then the Friday before week 1 starts on Sunday, we'll have Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Green Bay Packers in Brazil. That's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to say Eagles. I kind of know the line already, but I believe it's Eagles -1 right now.
Oh, I'm glad you missed this one. Eagles -1.5 down in Brazil. Let me ask you about that. How do you feel about this Brazil? Real quick, I know we got to keep rolling along here, but how do you feel about this Brazil game? What do you think? How is it going to work out?
Yeah, I mean the NFL is really good at this international stuff. I mean they don't do anything.
They are. I mean, I agree. They're as good as anybody as far as that goes. I mean, it's good to see the game growing, but I don't know. I'm anxious to see how the market works down there.
I kind of like it. I like that they're doing it to start the season because then the players aren't like. I mean, they can prepare, get down there in time, plenty of time.
Yeah.
And actually, I think they'd rather play in Brazil than play over in Europe because the time zones aren't as wild.
That's
because
true.
they're in the same, pretty much the same time zones as us, depending on where you're at.
The environment's a little more wild.
Yeah, but these guys, I mean, they're going to be it. They've got their own.
You shouldn't be. It's your own fault if you get anywhere you ain't supposed to be.
Yeah, it's like these guys are going to be in certain areas that are designated for them, state of the art stuff. NFL has all the money. They're prepping for, and it's their first Brazil one. They want to make it perfect. So nothing's gonna go wonky there. I don't think.
Famous last words.
Patriot says he thinks they're going to go 1-16. They might split with the Giants.
You give them the Commanders a sweep over them, huh?
Yeah, man. Okay, you're a Jaden Daniels fan. So then after that, they got look at that. They get a long break. So they play Friday. They got to come back, settle back in. I don't think you don't have to worry about jet lag. The only thing you have to worry about is the fact that it's a long, long flight down there.
Man,
but time zones and whatnot you should be fine.
Yeah.
But they open up week 2 with Monday Night Football home against Atlanta. I'm gonna say the Eagles are. God, the market's high on Atlanta. But it's Monday Night Football. Eagles are home. Philly 5.5 point favorites.
Eagles -3.5 at the Falcons, and I'm seeing it right now. We ain't got the Falcons yet, but I'm fading the Falcons. They give the Falcons way too much respect. You got the Eagles coming off 10 days rest right there at home.
And Kirk Cousins ain't even playing in the preseason.
It don't matter if that Kirk Cousins. Anyways.
Oh, Kirk.
Bet the Eagles now on that line.
Okay, and then home against let's see. They're on the road in New Orleans. I'm going to say Eagles. Ooh, this is going to be Eagles. Oh, this one's tough. This one's going to get me on a weird. Eagles 2-point favorites?
Eagles -3 at the Saints, man.
You gave them a full 3, huh? Okay.
Hey, so you talking about Kirk Cousins real quick. I was up last week with the boys up there at the hotel, and we're like swimming in the pool in the hotel, and they get a little football out, and they're passing this guy, and I knew I was in Minnesota, man, because the guy wanted to imitate. He's like threw a pass in the pool, and he was like, "Oh man, look just like Kirk Cousins." And I was thinking, yeah, that was a pretty terrible pass. So you do actually look just like Kirk Cousins, but your quarterback's Sam Darnold now, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, that's funny. And then they got to go on the road and play Tampa Bay. So they just knocked out. They're just playing the NFC South. They're just like, okay, we're gonna knock this out.
Pretty good one.
Yeah. Geez, I wonder if they have after 5 weeks what their record will be because they have a bye. They have an early bye week. Anyways, they go down to Tampa. Tampa, a little revenge game after Tampa knocked them out of the playoffs. I would say this one's going to be Eagles -2.
Eagles -3 at the Buccaneers.
-3 at both Saints and Tampa Bay. Wow, even with back-to-back road games.
On the road, too, yeah.
Yeah, then they get an early bye week. Which they probably need after that long flight down to Brazil, and then you've got 2 road games in there. Weeks 3 and 4. So okay. I never liked the early bye weeks, but who knows? Then after that, they're home against Cleveland. I gotta say, this one's gonna be tough. I want to say Philly 1.5 point favorites.
Eagles -3 against the Browns. This is like the Cowboys yesterday. You could have said -1. You just said -3 every time. You'd have got the over.
Fuse is here. What up, Fuse? He says, "Go Birds." He's an Eagles fan.
That's right. Good to see you, Fuse. Hope all is well, sir.
3 division matchups at the end of the season is intense. Yeah, sometimes they do that to you. But
how some teams like that, like some teams just like pile all the division in the last month of the season, and some of them are, got one game in division and
Or
stuff.
they'll start, you play the first game against your division opponent, and then you play the last game against that same
Against the
opponent.
same opponent, yeah, 4 months down the road.
Yeah. Okay. Man, okay, so -3 against Cleveland. I'm telling you, they are coming off a bye week, though, but depending on how Cleveland's looking, I'll probably take the 3 points with Cleveland on that
Yeah,
one.
probably bet the
Cleveland's
Browns
solid.
there, money line.
Let's see. So then they got to go on the road to New York against the Giants, not the Jets, the Giants. Eagles 3.5-point favorites.
Eagles -4.5 at the Giants.
4.5. Okay, 4.5. All right. Then they got to go to Cincinnati after that. I'm gonna say, gosh, I can't. Cincy 1-point favorites.
Eagles +3 at the Bengals. A lot of respect for these Bengals too, man. With a lot of question marks, it might be another team we got to fade.
I bet that now because you don't even know who's going to be at quarterback for the Bengals by that week 8. Because Burrow, you never know, man. You just never know. Okay, then they're home against Jacksonville. Eagles. Well, let's just go with this. Eagles 3-point favorites against Jacksonville.
Eagles -3.5 at home against the Jaguars. Oh, this is fun.
And then the big game of the year, they got to go down to Dallas. And I'm going to say Dallas is I should know this because we did this yesterday. 2.5-point favorite.
Cowboys -2 at home against the Eagles.
Son of a gun. I think I got that right yesterday. I got it wrong today.
Can't have nothing.
Few says big Eagles fan, wasn't Philly Center City when they won the Super Bowl in 2017. Changed my life. Hey, I want to show you something. Do I have it pulled up? I want to show you something real quick. You better hope, Fuse, that they win a Super Bowl in the next few years. Because in 2029, they have a $97.5 million cap hit for Jalen Hurts, and he's not even on the team.
As we say, for a guy that's going to be sitting in a press box somewhere.
Yep. And then another $30 million the year after, and then in that year you owe AJ Brown $58 million on the books. So
they ain't even giving that press box that second year either. They're gonna make him buy a ticket.
So where we're at, we're home against Washington. Eagles 6-point favorites against Washington here. Thursday Night Football
-7 at home.
Man, I'm all around it today. Paige, I will keep you in mind. I'm all around it today. Okay. And then they got to go on the road to the Rams. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Rams. I think the Rams are one of those teams that if they went 8-9, I wouldn't be surprised. But if I had to pick someone, I won't want to say a dark horse, but someone to have like a 10+ win season, like a solid season, pick the Rams.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I did it last year too.
Rams, if they stay healthy, they should be. Let's see. So they got to go down to LA, play the Rams, and Eagles 1-point favorites.
Eagles are 0.5-point dogs. Rams -0.5 point.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. So basically pick them.
Yeah.
That seems right to me. That seems right.
I'm supposed to travel.
And then after flying out to LA, they got to come back and go to Baltimore. Not a far trip there, but Baltimore 3.5-point favorites.
Ding, ding, ding. Baltimore -3.5 at the Eagles.
There we go. Got one right finally. Then we're home against Carolina. Eagles. What were they against New York? Eagles 7-point favorites.
Eagles -7.5 at home against the Panthers.
Son of a gun. I might actually look to take Carolina there.
They
just had 2 tough road games, and you got a big game.
They started imploding last year too.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking. I mean, you're gonna be 7.5 with Carolina.
I'm saying it's hard to
I'm just looking to fade after them playing Baltimore. You know what I mean?
It's still a professional football team, man. It's hard to beat a professional football team by more than a touchdown.
I
mean, it happens, but I'm just saying those 2 back-to-back tough games there, one of them across the country. Yeah.
Home against Pittsburgh Eagles. God, I think this is gonna be a weird one. I think it's gonna be like Eagles 4.5.
Well, Eagles -4.5 at home against the Steelers.
I wanted to say 3.5. I'm like, but it's gonna be weird.
It was a weird
4.5.
I think I want to take the Steelers in that one right now.
There we go. Oh, sorry, I'm getting messages. Okay, then they're at Washington. So they were home against Washington, 7.5 at Washington. I'm gonna say Eagles 5.5-point favorites in Washington.
Eagles -3 at the Commanders.
They are given way too much credit for those flipping home field. Okay, and then home against Dallas, Eagles 2-point favorites.
Eagles minus 2.5 at home against the Cowboys.
I wanted to say 2.5 too. Damn it. And then home against New York, week 18. I have no idea. This is going to be like a coin. I'm just going to say it's going to be something stupid like Eagles 5.5.
Oh, Eagles minus 5 at home against the Giants.
You hit your exacta.
My exacta. Got my money back for the last couple days. Let's go. It's a little plus 700 right there.
You were sweating that when you heard 5.
I was like, no way. You got me yesterday on my exacta. I had 3 yesterday, and you hit the last one to get to 4. And I was like, no way he's going to get me 2 days in a row. What are we doing?
Well, there's that. Okay, so we have that. That's their little preview. Let's go take a look at the betting market real quick with them.
This may be foolish. Are we down to 4 preseason games now? I mean, 3 from 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. They want to make it 2.
They need to, and give us an extra regular season game. 2 bye weeks. Better product.
Yeah, that's when they need 2 bye weeks is what they need.
Give us 18 games, give us 2 bye weeks, cut out one of them stupid, nonsensical games, and let's go.
Yeah, you can have everyone gets a bye week between weeks 5 and 9, and then a bye week before
between 13 and 17, or 13. Do 13 and 16, something like that. Last 2 weeks you should have to kind of. When do we stop the bye weeks? We stopped them like what, week 14?
Yeah,
something like that. I think week 14 is the last bye week, so you extend that out a couple more weeks.
Yeah, I think weeks 13, 14, 15. It should all be in there, like the beginning of December.
I'm even fine with you as long as you get it before Christmas.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Okay, where am I at? We got to go to the betting markets. Let's see. We saw this yesterday. Sorry. NFL futures, division futures. They were the favorites to win the division yesterday. Let's see if they still are. They are minus 110 to finish to win the division. Cowboys right behind them at plus 150. Giants and Commanders have no shot to win the division. Their conference odds to win the NFC, they're the 3rd favorite behind San Francisco and Detroit at plus 600. And then to win the Super Bowl, they are plus, you can get 14-1 on them to win the Super Bowl. That ain't bad. That ain't a bad bet right there.
No, not terrible.
Let me see. And then team wins. That's what I want to say there. Let's see the win total. Regular season win, Philadelphia Eagles. Man, 10.5. You know what's crazy? It's 10.5 at minus 140. What the Cowboys yesterday? 10.5, and it was like minus 210.
It was minus over 10.5.
Riddle me that, Cricket. This team's favored to win the division, yet they have the same over-under win total as the Cowboys, and yet the Cowboys you got to lay minus 210, and the Eagles you got to lay minus 140. This is a better bet, and it just shows you that you're paying such a high tax when you're betting on a public team like the Cowboys.
Absolutely, man. That's what I'm saying. So, if you're going to bet, looking at these win totals here, I think if the Eagles get over that win total, they're going to win the division. I mean, it's possible.
Well, it doesn't even matter. I wouldn't even bet them to win the division because you got to lay minus 110.
I wouldn't bet either one of them. But if you're going to bet the Cowboys, don't look at the win totals. Bet them to win the division because if they get over their 10.5 instead of laying minus 210, I feel like if Cowboys get to 11 wins, they picked up at least 1 against the Eagles.
Well, remember we said the better bet was the Cowboys make the playoffs, right? Because you don't even have to worry about
for the Eagles.
We'll get to that, but I wanted to say real quick, you can lay minus 110 for them to win the division. They're going to need 11 wins to win that division. So I'd rather lay the minus 140 and not even worry about if there's any tiebreakers with the Cowboys or anything like that.
You could see that both being 11-6 or something.
So this is a way better bet. That's one I'm probably going to add to my portfolio now that I see it. Playoff specials to make the playoffs. Let's see. It's got to be juice.
It's got to be,
Yes is minus 250. Once again, a better bet is to bet their season win total over 10.5 at minus 140. Because if they get 11 wins, they're going to be in the playoffs.
I don't hate betting the no.
2-1?
I don't hate it.
There's good value there. There's good value. They could collapse. There is good value. If you like that, think about that, Cricket. They're saying Eagles to make the playoffs. Which, if you win your division, you make the playoffs. To win the division is minus 110. So to make the playoffs, minus 250. I mean, this makes sense to me, but I'm still looking back at that 10.5 wins, and I'm like, well, listen, you get 11 wins with the seven slots right that are there.
Yeah.
The better bet odds wise is to go over the 10.5 wins at -140 instead of this, or better than them to make the playoffs at -250 or them to win the division at -110. I'm just putting this out there for people that want to bet on the Eagles and saying that that's the smarter bet out of the three.
You go and you bet them to maybe put a little sprinkle, mix up a unit on them to win the NFC and then to win the Super Bowl, put a half unit on each. And then I think you also bet the no for them to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, you kind of have, you're just hoping that they don't be, you're hoping they don't land exactly at 11 wins.
Right, exactly. And we look at we look at last year and the last 7 games we've seen this team play, even the one they won, they didn't look great. And I know it's been an off season, you got some new pieces, all that stuff. But once again, it's not that easy just to turn it on all of a sudden. There's going to be a lot of stuff in the back of these guys' minds. You've lost what is probably your best offensive lineman, at least one of them, in Jason Kelce there. So it's nothing that makes me feel like this team's going to be drastically better. Now, they weren't bad last year, had a rough stretch, but I'm just saying, I don't know that you can just turn it back on.
Some player odds here. We got Jalen Hurts to win MVP 14-1. I still think the Dak bet at 25-1 is way better than Dak is going to put up way more stats than Jalen Hurts.
I would much rather have Dak at 25-1 than Jalen Hurts at 14-1.
Yeah. I don't think 14-1 is bad for Jalen Hurts. I just would rather put my money elsewhere.
And as much as he runs the ball, man, there's likelihood that he could miss some games due to injury. Obviously, Dak too, but Dak don't get out of the pocket and run, put his body on the line as much as Jalen Hurts does.
Quinion Mitchell to be Defensive Player of the Year, 14-1.
What about, is that Rookie of the Year? Defensive Rookie of the Year. I was going to say, I like the Rookie of the Year. Yeah, no, I that's worth a sprinkle.
Yeah, 14-1 ain't bad odds on that one, especially he was the number 1 cornerback, and they need
Dijon for the
probably lower
defensive Rookie of the Year. 33-1. That's worth a half unit too, y'all. I just told y'all in 2022 that man took 3 of his 5 picks back for touchdowns and returned a punt for a touchdown last year.
Yeah, that's one of those things you want to happen at the end of the season, like we talked about. He wanted to get all those flashy highlights,
lock up the division or something.
Yeah. I like that. Let's see. Do they got anyone on here?
Let's see. What do you?
This is Defensive Player of the Year. Jalen Carter, 66-1.
Is there? Well, no, he's not on this team anymore. He got traded. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to dive a little farther into these to see if I, Jalen Carter at 66. That's Defensive Player of the Year, 66-1. It's hard for a defensive lineman to get Defensive Player of the Year. You just don't. You're gonna have double teams and all that stuff. It's just hard to put the stat line up to win that. You got people like Michael.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of just maybe throw $5 on it so you can say, "Hey, look at I had that."
I wouldn't even throw that. Throw $1 on it when you 66.
Yeah, and then you can go have a nice dinner, right?
And you ain't got to be mad when it does not happen. It's just hard for them to get the stat lines.
Yeah.
But what about let's see. I was trying to think of any other awards that might be worth it here.
I mean, Coach of the Year.
Yeah. What's that look like?
Why am I having the hardest time finding these guys?
And what is Saquon? Would Saquon qualify for Comeback Player of the Year?
He should. Nick Sirianni is all the way down here at 66-1. That might not be a bad bet. If they get the 1 seed,
he's capable.
Yeah. I don't think I don't think I have Comeback Player of the Year on here.
You have Offensive Player of the Year?
Yes.
What is Saquon Barkley? 20-1?
He's got to be way down. He's 20-1.
Maybe a half unit.
Yeah, maybe. Well, there you have it, folks. That is the Philadelphia Eagles 2024 preview. Make sure you like this video. Let us know in the comments below how you think the Eagles are going to do this season and which bets, if you have any, that you like or that you have placed on them to get it done. Like I said, I think that over 10.5 wins, if you think they're going to make the playoffs or win the division, that over 10.5 wins is the best bet to make instead. Then you don't have to worry about either of those things happening. But smash the like button, subscribe to the channel wherever you're at, and we'll see you on the next video.